when wealth management firms or financial advisors find new clients, usually it's because there's money in motion. A client, somebody's selling their business, and the CPA might refer 3 firms that can help them manage that wealth after the liquidity event. And I realized that was really how I wanted to build my business.
Welcome back to Talent Hunters, powered by MRI Network, where each week we talk with the world's top talent strategists and executive recruiters. If you want to build talented teams that drive your company to big goals and big growth, then this podcast is for you. And now, let's join the conversation with today's episode of Talent Hunters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vince Holt, the host of Talent Hunters. Today, we've got Hunter Judson, managing partner of the Judson Group, located in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hunter has been in this business for approximately 11 years. The beauty of this is Hunter's had the opportunity, even though he's a second generation in running this organization, he's had the opportunity from starting from the ground up, working a desk to leading the team. This year, the Judson Group is ranked number 9 so far in the world, and Hunter himself is ranked number 1 in the managing partner billings category. Congratulations and welcome, Hunter.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you've started in this business approximately 11 years ago. Tell us a little bit about your background and really what's led you to where you are today in the organization.
Sure. So started my career in 2009, which obviously was a tough time to come out of college, but was a natural networker, driving down to Chicago every Friday to try to find an interview and get out of my parents' basement. And so I ended up landing at Bessemer Trust in Chicago. And Bessemer manages the wealth for ultra high net worth families. I was part of a client advisory team there, learned a ton, had a great experience, and really did enjoy that business. But about 4 years in, my wife and I, who went to high school together here in West Michigan, really wanted to get back to Grand Rapids. A lot had changed, and we didn't really see ourselves moving to the suburbs of Chicago. So made the move back in June 2013 and joined the family business. And really what got me into recruiting was the fact that my dad had been in the business since 2002. His focus was commercial banking. So like every naive 26-year-old, I thought, why don't I do the same? And I'll leverage my experience in private wealth management.
Wow. That's quite a story. What was the attraction to recruiting at such a young age?
Nobody goes to school to be a recruiter. And honestly, if my dad hadn't been in the business, I would have had no idea. Really, what I was attracted to was the idea of the culture that had been in the office. Honestly, getting beers at 4:00 on Friday, working in a sales environment. I walked into the office December 2012, and I felt that nostalgia, having interned and done some work over the years since I was in freshman year of high school. And for whatever reason, I thought that there would be a great idea to try to do the same. And I had been kind of thinking about my next step anyway. And I loved being in a client service environment, but I find myself being a little bit too bored. I wanted to be in a more proactive environment. And so I went from a very 100% reactive client service environment to a 100% sales environment. So it was a bit of a shock to start.
So what areas does Hunter, you, specialize in? What's your dig specialty just for you first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wanted to leverage my background in private wealth management. Bessemer is a great firm. It gave me immediate credibility when talking to people. I think some people would call me back just to understand my transition out of a place like Bessemer into the recruiting world. It's kind of unique. So pretty quickly, I started to get a better sense for the wealth management landscape. what is a wirehouse versus a broker dealer firm versus a trust company, bank, wealth management, and then really the RIA channel, which is the independent space. And I really just found pretty quickly that there was a market for my services in the RIA space, that I really liked working in those organizations because my values aligned with them. They're entrepreneurial groups. They're independent typically. You generally have a flat management structure. So I really enjoyed working with leadership at those firms immediately to help them solve their key hiring needs.
Wow. And now what does the Judson Group, what are the specialties and diversifications of your organization?
Sure. So today, having my dad more or less retired from recruiting, we are 100% specialized in wealth management, but specifically within that, we are RIA specialists. So we're very well known in that industry, that subspace across the country. And that allows us to be a little bit of a generalist to the RIA firm. So we can help them on anything from an experienced hire to into the C-suite across maybe their investment team, their operations team, their client advisory team. So it's really, we're RIA specialists.
RIA specialists. And is this national or is this more of the statewide? What is the script that you cover?
So we work nationally. Last year, we actually did our first international search in the Toronto area. And so basically, we've got a team that is spread out at this point. Mike Hoffman on my team is out of Pittsburgh, Libby Dingfields, and Central Missouri. My dad does some operations finance, so he's in Florida. But then Eric Zabinski, our director of research, is here in town still. So that doesn't mean a whole lot, honestly, although Mike, having kind of grown up and been on the East Coast in his career, I think there's some value there. But when you're hyper specialized in a vertical, it really doesn't matter where you are. You can work most everywhere.
And we're finding that out since COVID, that there's more people working from home now than there are in offices, frankly speaking. Mm-hmm. So there can be a benefit in your business to having people understand the different demographics, cultures, because let's face it, there is a big difference between the people in New York as there is in Omaha, Nebraska. And
right.
Even though the goal is the same and the stories might be similar, they're totally different personalities. So that's a challenge.
Absolutely. It definitely helps to have people with geographic diversification. One, you can hire people that you wouldn't otherwise be able to hire. And we've got some amazing people here, and that's the result of being fully remote.
So wealth management as a gig is, gosh, it's just a huge, huge industry if I understand it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
What makes the Judson Group different than the competition?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think that what tends to separate most wealth management firms is really the kind of client that they serve, and thus the kind of services that they offer. And really, ultimately, that means the people that they hire. So I think our biggest differentiator is that because we are hyper specialized and because we came from the industry, 3 of the 4 of us actually came out of the wealth space. Mike was with a wholesaler and Fidelity Family Office for 25 plus years. Libby was actually at a client of mine. And so I think that that's truly unique, and it allows us to understand who our clients are and why that impacts who they're going to hire. So you can truly qualify, and you can really help a client find the right people without banging your head against the wall, wasting their time too much.
So dig into that a little bit as far as, let's take a client, for instance, first, okay? How do you gain the trust of a client that you haven't done business with before?
At this point, almost 100% of our business is referral based. And I knew right away that when wealth management firms or financial advisors find new clients, usually it's because there's money in motion. A client, if somebody's selling their business and the CPA might refer 3 firms that can help them manage that wealth after the liquidity event. And I realized that was really how I wanted to build my business, because it's a very small industry and there are a number of consultants that do a lot of practice management work with firms. There are a number of conferences that are focused on leadership, practice management. And I figured out early on that I am not a good cold caller. I do not want to make 100 calls. I've never made 80 calls in a day, I guarantee you. But I could build real credibility by getting in front of the folks who are going to refer their clients. And from there, you've got to prove yourself. And if you do a good job, clients will come back and consultants will come back. And really, that's how we built the business. And also then, those conferences you go to, eventually you're speaking at them.
Interesting, because the wealth management industry, and I'm very naive about it, but it strikes me as an industry that is built on building trust with their customers, which is exactly what we try to do, is build trust with our clients. So what do you do better than the competition in going after the right candidates?
Sure. I think it's our credibility as specialists. I think that it's also the fact that we try to act as true consultants and partners to both our clients and our candidates. There's no point in selling, I think, to a candidate, because you don't make the decision at the end of the day, and it's not your career. And we really live by that. And trying to force a square peg into a round hole and having it blow up at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than the feeling of having driven somebody down the wrong path. So we really live by that. And I think it's made a difference for us.
So your business, and I love what you're saying, because yes, we are in the sales business. I mean, we can call it anything we want to call it, but it is selling. Yep. But the reality of it is matching client needs to candidate needs. And it sounds like you really focus on truly digging in through questioning your candidates as to what their wants and desires are, opposed to trying to sell them the next opportunity or selling a company. I got a guy. Does that capture it pretty good?
100%. And it goes back to us being specialists. We understand what our candidates are generally looking for. And if we understand the resume, which is a roadmap, but it's in between the bullet points on the resume and on the job description, that's fit. And I think we really understand fit, and we don't go to candidates with opportunities that are going to waste their time. That's our goal. And I think that's how you build trust in a sea of recruiters who are just throwing stuff at you that's just not relevant at all. One, either they just don't understand what your job is, what you're looking for, or two, they just don't care.
Is there a particular question that you ask candidates, regardless of the position itself, that helps you reach the nucleus of what they might be needing or wanting?
You could say it's a particular question, but it's really just a question that's open-ended. What do you want next? And then you just have to listen. I always start with talking through kind of what is our background for some context for them, so they know I am going to understand what they're telling me. But then I want them to give me the Reader's Digest version of of their career thus far. And then the next question is always, okay, so, what are you looking to do next? And what are some of your goals with your career path? And I just stop there. I never, ever want to talk about maybe the position that I'm specifically calling them about beyond. I know we are going to chat about this at some point, but that's it. I just want to listen. I think, being a recruiter and being able to sell, it's 90% being able to listen.
That is sales. It truly is. You got to know what you're selling too. And otherwise you're just flapping your jaws. And I appreciate that. It takes a lot of years to learn that. Congratulations on doing it such a quick time.
Thanks.
What has technology done to your business? How has it benefited your business?
Good question. LinkedIn's always been a key tool. I wouldn't say that over the last 11 years, I've seen a whole lot change in terms of technology impacting our business. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're not a high volume shop that is trying to leverage technology to get thousands of messages out over, every week. So we leverage it. I can't say that we are fantastic at it. Myself personally, our director of research is, but it's just a tool. At the end of the day, though, it's a relationship business, and that's the most important thing.
So, and I can relate to that. I mean, I'm incredibly old school. Technology started with me with the fax machine. That was the greatest threat there was going to be to recruiting. Well, we know how that turned out. The technology is growing so doggone fast. It's fulfilling to hear you basically say, we're on the phone. We're talking to people.
Yep.
How are you, and this is candidate related, what are you doing in a message to get candidates to want to call you back?
Sure. One, show a little bit of credibility, that this isn't just some spam message. I have 5 of them today, people trying to sell me things. 2 is to say, if I'm recruiting on a specific role, it's really to say, here's why I'm reaching out to you briefly. Here's what we're really looking for and why someone might actually be interested in this company. Something that's just a little different from, here's a job, they're just another company. What differentiates the role and the opportunity in the firm to an extent. And then to say, I don't know you yet, no pressure here. If you want to learn more, great. Happy to chat, whether it's this or something down the road, or if somebody comes to mind that I should talk to, then, appreciate help. I don't want to push. And I think people especially in the wealth business, which is a relationship business, they're generally helpful and generally understand that at some point they may need a recruiter. So we just try to build relationships for the long term. And whether that's, the search today that somebody's applied to and it's just not a fit, we still want to talk to them. You never know. Never know how you're going to be able to help somebody down the road.
That's true. And they may own their own firm, little, small, doesn't make any difference. They may need your services to fulfill something too, rather than just them moving. Through your 11 years having started from the ground up, is there a particular success story that really opened your eyes to this business and the future for you?
I don't know that there's a particular success story. Maybe making my first placement and realizing, okay, there's a chance. And then, going 2 or 3 months and thinking, what have I done? And then making 5 in the 2 weeks, and then being I think 1 or 2 rookie at MRI that year. Of course, my first thought at the end of the year was, wow, that was great. But yeah, there's no way that happens again. And it only went up from there. But I think, 2 of my favorite stories, one on the client side is, is getting feedback from candidates during an interview process about how my client so highly values what we do with them and our reputation. I've gotten that a number of times, and I think that it just feels good. You know, you're doing a good job and you're not seen as a vendor. Second is probably building relationships with candidates that you're not going to help right now. You may not ever, but had one last year, 8 years after we first got on the phone, helped them make a huge change. And that's wildly fulfilling. And, those are people that are going to be huge champions for you for the rest of your career. So I think those are two of kind of my favorite things about the business.
What's your vision for your organization over the next 5 to 10 years?
So when I was at Bessemer, John Hilton was the CEO, and I think I remember him saying that people ask why we don't have a credit cards or we don't do this or that for clients, but we do what we do extremely well, and we want to do it the best. And if we can't do it that way, we shouldn't do it at all. And I really believe that. And we are pretty careful about the searches we'll work on as a result. And I think you have to be able to set clear expectations. And if you can't meet them, you've got nothing. So my vision is to remain a boutique firm. I don't want to hire just to grow, just to squeak out a little bit more profit. I think that damages our process and the quality of our work. And I think that if we just maintain a really great team, we can treat that team really, really well. And that's really what I want to do. I don't want to hire people so I don't have to work. I love being in the relationships. I love recruiting. I love working with clients. So I think we're going to try to just keep up the pace.
What do you attribute the ability to foster such a great culture with people that are scattered all over the country, basically?
It's really about them. I realized early on that I didn't really like managing people. I just don't want to be a micromanager. I don't want to be micromanaged myself. So I hired people that could work independently, but wanted to collaborate, and really kind of looked at the overall firm, the brand, as something they're a part of. So that's what I've done is try to hire people that will ask for help when they need it, but I don't have to say, hey, what are you doing right now? Are you working? It's really just hiring good people.
But the culture isn't just about the hiring. The culture is what you're doing to add value to them, not just in their business, but also in their personal lives.
Yeah.
What do you think cuts you different than any employer?
I think we just have a culture of trust. I do sometimes worry being remote. We're not going to get beers at 4 p.m. on Friday. We're not doing some of the little things we used to do. But when we have more people, but I realized that that doesn't necessarily keep people. I think people want to be treated like adults, and I want to do anything I can to help them. So it's really just a culture of trust and making sure that you compensate well and that you give people the resources they need so that they can have success. And then if there's anything else, I'm always open to feedback. But I ask people, I try to keep an open door policy. If something's going on and I don't know, I can't help you. So let's talk about it. And I think that has helped.
Boy, that's so basic and so thorough. I mean, I love what you're building there. So obviously you work hard at not only your personal business, I mean, number one in the country, number one in the world, actually, so far this year, almost halfway there. But your office being ranked number 9, obviously you're leading, you're guiding, your team is wonderful. What does Hunter Judson do to let go? At the end of the day, what do you do to let go and scrub the mind clean?
Try to hit the ball off the tee straight. Make 3 to 5 footers.
Okay, wait a minute.
I mean,
hitting the ball
I
off
love
the tee
playing
straight.
golf. Yeah, I've always been an athlete and a team athlete, and played soccer and golf in D3 college, and after college played in a men's soccer club 3-4 times a week. That was our thing. And as I started to realize that my body hurts more and more, I started playing more golf. And so, I love doing that. But I also have 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2. And I would say this year, this has been really fun because my oldest is a kindergartner and started playing club soccer. And not only are a lot of the coaches guys I grew up playing with, one of the other dads on the team was a former club, teammate and stuff, and high school opponent. And it's really fun seeing that. I'll be at soccer practice tonight, watching. So that's probably been the newest thing that is fun to do, is kind of getting into a different stage of raising kids.
Wow. They're at the perfect age too. They really are. I mean, you get to experience their newfound happiness, their newfound challenges, and being able to be a part of that. I played a lot of soccer as a youngster too. Actually had an invite to the first training camp that the Seattle Sounders had back in the 70s. And,
that's awesome.
Unfortunately, didn't get to make it, but and didn't get to make it to the practice, let alone wouldn't have made the team. It was just still interesting to get invited. Golf. That's a never-ending learning proposition.
It is.
The minute you get it mastered, you've lost it.
Exactly. And that's why so many people love it. So I enjoy the challenge. You're competing against yourself every day. You're competing against your opponent if you're playing any kind of game. So that's the fun part.
Just like this business. The way
Exactly.
you look at it, you're competing against yourself. The idea is somebody has a need. You got to go out there and you got to be bigger, badder, and faster. And the better part of it is bring them in exactly what they want. I love how you've broken it down. I really do. And the differentiating part of you is we're not just selling people to people. We're introducing to people, facilitating the process, help them close the deal. I applaud you on that. Hunter, I really appreciate you taking the time today to open yourself up. I've thoroughly enjoyed this so much. As a part of this, do you have any questions for me that I might be able to help you with?
Gosh, I'm not really sure. I appreciate you bringing me on, and it's been a great almost 11 years. I've been started this practice just about 10 years ago for the last about 11 months, and I'm going to have to change it up again. But time flies. I mean, I can't believe it's been almost 11 years. I think we did in our newsletter at the beginning of this year, we kind of counted everything up, and I mean, we've placed over 400 something people, and that's crazy to me. Could have never envisioned that in late June 2013.
Well, especially with what we've gone through. I mean, you starting at a time when the market and everything was just starting to recover. Mm-hmm. Then you having to go through what we went through with COVID. I mean, you've weathered some storms out there, and to see where you guys are right now as an office number 9 in the world within our organization is quite an accomplishment, let alone you being number 1. I wish you all the luck in the world. And if there's ever anything I can do to help, please give me a call. I've always admired your father, respected him forever, had a lot of interface with him. But you're taking this business, you're taking the challenge, and good luck in everything you do, my friend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.